BMG Radio. Remember edition. Let's get to it. He's got a lot to talk about today. Brought to you by the Better Movie. Hi, the Better Movie Guy, and today I'm going to be talking about some news. I'm going to be talking some Star Wars, and I'm going to be talking some a lot of movies. I watched a lot of movies in the last little while. I missed last week, so let's get to this. Okay, right off the top. I only got a few news items I want to talk about. One is that Paramount, the movie company Paramount, has finally decided to be nice to everyone. Not that they were terrible before, but they've decided to be nice. And they've opened up a YouTube account under Paramount, so just go to Paramount on YouTube. And they've released like over 100 movies on YouTube for free to watch. And they've said they're committed to doing this more, so they're going to be releasing more and more older movies. And I actually watched one from YouTube this week, and I'll get to that later in my Letterboxd. But yeah, this is something awesome. If you look at, like, some of the movies aren't great, let's be honest, but some of them are pretty solid movies. So take a glance, go over to Paramount, go over to their site, and just take a look around at what you could get to watch for free for, like, just sitting on YouTube, and, you know, that's good. All right, next, on to Finding Dory. Finding Dory, I found it. I found the trailer. Yeah, they released the trailer, I guess, today or yesterday. And some people are going to be ticked about this. Listen, I love Pixar, but I think Pixar has gone downhill in the last 5 years. They haven't had anything original, and I'm including Inside Out because it's a ripoff of Herman's Head, even though it was a really great movie. But they haven't done anything super original. But Finding Dory is something that could be great. Not because it's original, because they're working on characters they've already developed, but just Finding Nemo is one of their best movies, easily. And Dory is one of the most likable characters. So having some backstory to Dory and seeing her past, if it's done right, could be great. Is it being done right? I don't know. The trailer looks fun. It's a quick little trailer. Dory's sleep swimming. I don't know. It's like she keeps trying to remember something. I don't know. It could be good. It could be great. It could be a return to form of Pixar. It could be just a continuance of cash grab on former glory. I don't know. I'm hoping for it to be awesome. I really am. Because Pixar is really... Once upon a time, they were the highest standard as far as I was concerned for North American animation. They were. But they've slacked off. Disney's done better in the last little while. So, yes, I know they're the same company technically, but they're not. So, yeah. If you've seen the Finding Dory, there's a link here. I put in the annotation. So, if you've seen it, let me know what you think about it. Is it going to be great? Is it going to be awesome? Is it going to be terrible? Okay, so that's it for the news. That's all I had. Okay, now I'm moving on to something that my buddy wanted me to talk about, and he was kind of a little put off by how he said I talked about it violently because I used a certain word. But here we go. There's a theory out there that Jar Jar Binks is a dark Sith Lord and is actually responsible for pretty much everything in the prequels. And I'm going to go through the theory. But I went through the theory personally, and there was one word that just kept on coming to mind, and that was bullshit, because I couldn't. And it's funny, because I hate the prequels. I really do. And people are like, well, okay, that's biased. Jar Jar is not the worst thing in the prequels. Jar Jar is one of the least offensive things in the prequels. Jar Jar didn't even bug me in the prequels. Out of all the things I hate about the prequels, Jar Jar is near the bottom of the list. So, the thought that, like, oh, it's just because you don't like Jar Jar. No. Jar Jar, I don't care about Jar Jar. But I care about them trying to change continuity because it makes more fun. Because, oh, what if Jar Jar was really in charge? Okay, so let's look at this guy's theory. And, there's one huge hole in this theory. But we'll get to that at the very end. Okay, so basically, his whole thought is Jar Jar is a Sith Lord. And he goes through his reasonings for this. Now, he's a Sith Lord, in this guy's opinion, but he's such a secret Sith Lord. No one knows about him, except Palpatine. He thinks he's in league with Palpatine. But if he's such a good Sith Lord, he's so secretive that he doesn't let anyone know he's a Sith Lord. But, okay, so his first piece of evidence that he's a Force user is that when him and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn jump into the water, or go into the water, Jar Jar does this big somersault flip. And the guy says, only a Force user could do that. That's why he could do that. Yeah, he's an alien. He can do whatever he wants. We don't know what Gungans can do. Have you ever seen Gungans? No. So just because you never saw any other Gungans do flips into water, you didn't see any water. Well, they lived in water, but that's beside the point. You didn't see it. And saying, well, look at the other Gungans. Like, look at the big boss. Yeah, I'm a big guy. I can't dunk a basketball. But just because you see one guy dunk a basketball on TV going, well, that guy's clearly a Force user because this guy can't dunk a basketball. He did a big jump into the water. He's an alien. He can do that. He doesn't need the Force. There are a lot of aliens that can do things that humans can't do. They don't need the Force for it. So that's his first piece of evidence. Next, he goes on to say that because Jar Jar is so lucky, we can't, it has to be the Force. Because of, he bumbles through battle, yet doesn't get hurt and kills a lot of people. And he says it breaks the fourth wall because no one's that lucky. It doesn't break the fourth wall. He didn't look at the camera and say, yeah, I'm Jar Jar. I didn't hit That's not breaking the fourth wall as far as I'm concerned. But his main point is that Jar Jar, as a Force user, uses something like drunken fist wushu techniques to fight, where it looks like he's not trying to fight, it looks like he's an idiot, and that hides how powerful a Force user he is. No one was there to see him use the Force in that instance except other Gungans. So he wouldn't need to hide it, but beside that, he's just a bumbling idiot. He's allowed to be a bumbling idiot. If you're saying he can't be a bumbling idiot because no one's that lucky, guess what? He was written that way. Next, he makes this whole thing about this jump that Jar Jar does. He falls halfway down the wall and then he catches himself and then does a flip. But again, Jar Jar is an alien. He can do things that we can't do, and it's not really all that impressive. He definitely doesn't need to be a Force user to do it. So, all these reasons that, he needs the Force for that and he needs the Force for... Jar Jar is an alien. And I'm going to keep saying that. He's an alien. He doesn't need all that. Not all, there are aliens that can fly. Do they use the Force? Next, he does the whole Jedi mind trick thing. And this is what he says. That you know how Jedis, when they're talking to people and want them to do what they do, they wave their hand. So he uses some clips from Jar Jar waving his hand while talking to people. Now, thing is, it's funny. The one he says is when he's been promoted to being a general in the army. Problem is, he was already promoted to being a general in the army when he flips the hand. So he'd already gotten what he wants. He's then flipping his hand after the fact to tell the guy to make him a general. He's already a general. He doesn't need to convince the guy. He doesn't need to use influence for that. Sometimes a hand flip is just a hand flip. Sometimes just it's movement. It's the way people are. The last kind of thing he talks about is Jar Jar and Palpatine. And he talks about the fact that, okay, they came from the same planet. And so in his words, that's like growing up in the same neighborhood because, the whole universe, and they grew up on the same planet. Yeah, they did grow up on the same planet and on other sides of the planet, but that's okay. They're on other sides of the planet. There's lots of people on my planet that I haven't met that are on the other side, but so they grew up on the same planet. And then he talks about so they could have known each other. Okay, granted, I guess, but it's very highly unlikely considering Palpatine has been off planet for a lot of the time and Jar Jar hasn't. And this purely because Jar Jar is an outcast very recently from the Gungans. And this is how I'm going to blow a hole in this theory. At the beginning when you meet Jar Jar, you find out he doesn't want to go home really because he's just been exiled from the Gungans, which means he's been with the Gungans his whole life pretty much. And they got tired of his crap and they kicked him out. Did they get tired of his crap because he was a dark Sith Lord? No, they got tired of his crap because he's a bumbling idiot. And they kicked him out. He didn't have time to meet with Palpatine and become a Force user and become a dark Sith Lord and plan this whole thing with the whole Empire and he's really the menacing hand behind Palpatine. Listen, you're stretching, you're hoping, you're wanting to redeem the character. The character's a bumbling idiot. It's okay that he's a bumbling idiot. Let him be. That's what he is. That's the way Lucas wrote him. And then they go on to say, well, yeah, he was with Palpatine. He was one of his right-hand men. Of course he was one of Palpatine's right-hand men. Palpatine manipulated him like a puppet. Palpatine was in charge of figuring out how to manipulate everyone, and he picked someone to be beside him who's easily manipulated. I'm sorry. The whole theory just falls apart. It's just, I understand you want Jar Jar to be important. I understand you want him to be redeemed in some way, but he doesn't need to be redeemed. He's a stupid character that was written for stupid purposes, and that's what he is. It's okay. Again, I don't even hate him. But I hate the thought that you're now trying to make him something he's not, just because you are uncomfortable with the fact that Jar Jar, and this is, I'm talking to the guy now who will never hear this, but the thought that if you can't deal with the fact that Jar Jar was an idiot, and so you start, oh, well, maybe he was something darker. There's no real evidence. There's a lot of, oh, well, this could fit this, and this could fit this in this theory, but it's not there. And I don't know. I don't see it. Maybe I'm just really jaded. Maybe because I hate the prequel so much, I can't see it. People, like my buddy was like, oh, it makes it more interesting. Sure, it makes it more interesting. You can make anything say anything if you really want it to hard enough. Yeah, I'm calling shenanigans. So let me know. Have you seen this theory? Do you like this theory? Are you like, yes, that theory makes lots of sense? Or are you like me and calling bullshit? All right, now moving on. Okay, so feeding my addiction. I only fed my addiction with one thing this week, and that one thing was Nightmare Before Christmas. I was at Costco. They had it for $12 on Blu-ray and DVD. I bought it. And that's been feeding my addiction. Nice and short. I didn't have any more money after feeding my addiction last time. Plus, I didn't find any good deals. All right, now we're moving to 60 Seconds of Awesome. 60 Seconds of Awesome, yeah. It's 60 Seconds of Awesome. It gets repetitive, I know, but just deal with it. Today on 60 Seconds of Awesome, my friend, same friend who actually asked me about Jar Jar, suggested that I do this gentleman, and I decided that he easily fits in the 60 Seconds of Awesome because he's awesome. We're talking about Steve McQueen. Now, what Steve McQueen we're talking about is Steve McQueen, the actor from the 70s, not the director from now. Steve McQueen, the actor, is freaking awesome. Like, the guy exuded cool. Like, literally, where he walked around, it actually got cooler. People were like, ooh, is that a nice breeze? No, Steve McQueen just walked in the room. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. The guy was a great actor, but he was even better as just a force of charismatic awesomeness. When he walked on a set, people knew he was there. And he was funny, he was smart, he was freaking cool. Like, and he would do things like sometimes, like, in Magnificent Seven, him and Yul Brynner didn't like each other. So he did everything possible that when they were on screen together to mess Yul Brynner up or just try and take the focus away from him. So the two of them are sitting together in the stagecoach, and he's doing stuff like shaking shells, like just drawing any attention away from Yul Brynner. And Yul Brynner hated it because he just was like, I'm the star of the film, but everyone loves Steve McQueen more because Steve McQueen is Steve McQueen. Steve McQueen is easily one of the coolest people in film history, and he easily fits in my 60 Seconds of Awesome. This has been 60 Seconds of Awesome. Let Better Movie Guy know someone you think should be in 60 Seconds of Awesome, and he'll put him there. Unless he thinks they suck. Yeah. Alright, next I'm moving on to YouTuber of the Week, and YouTuber of the Week this week is my friend Tyrell Listen. Tyrell Listen is a Canadian YouTuber. He is a film student that is incredibly passionate and smart about film. This guy breaks down movies and just looks at them and from lots of different perspectives. He's way smarter about film than I am, but he's really passionate, and he doesn't come off as a guy that's just like, oh, I'm so smart and I've seen all these foreign films and I've seen all these historical films, so thus I can't enjoy any of the good. No, he just did a review for Curse of the Black Pearl from Pirates of the Caribbean. Why? Because it's a fun movie, so he thought he'd review it because he saw it again. But he also does reviews for much more serious films, and he breaks down films really well and says this is really good and this is really bad. He's incredibly smart, and he's just started recently, and I applaud this, being on camera more. He used to do a lot of reviews where he wasn't on camera, he just talked. But recently he's been on camera a lot more, and he is half of one half of Pantail Zoom. I think it's a smart move because I think you're a smart guy and you're charismatic, and I like seeing your face when you're talking, and you can see the fact that you really love film. So he is easily a YouTuber. If you don't know him, you should totally check him out. And he's my YouTuber of the week. All right, now we're moving on to Letterboxd, and this is gonna take a while. So I'm gonna go as fast as humanly possible to get through this because I've been watching a lot of movies. All right, so here we go. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. It's a Harry Potter film. I give it 3 beards out of 5. It's Harry Potter film. The day before Halloween, I watched Halloween with my wife. She'd never seen the movie. We got it on Blu-ray. Oh, it was so nice. And Halloween is freaking awesome. It's totally a classic. It's the Godfather of slasher films. And I personally love it. I love the soundtrack. I love John Carpenter. I love just Jamie Lee Curtis, everything. So I give it 4 beards out of 5. It was total fun, total blast to watch. On the 1st, we started watching war movies leading up to Remembrance Day with my daughters. Nothing like Saving Private Ryan because they can't handle that. But war movies that they could handle mostly. We got to one they couldn't, but just in general, we wanted to we do this every year, starting November 1st to Remembrance Day. And then on Remembrance Day, we watch a particular war movie, which is Memphis Belle, and I'll get to next week because we haven't gotten there yet. But every year we watch Memphis Belle on Remembrance Day. We have for the last 2 years. We're pretty much going to from now on. It's just the way life is. So we've been watching war movies. So I watched Fly Boys with James Franco. This is a decent, well-made film. It's about World War I planes, the first, jet fighters, but not jets, airplane pilots. And it's good time. It's well made. I give it 3 beards out of 5. Next, I watched Ex Machina, which I was so happy to see. I really enjoy this film. I've done a review for it. It's a brand new review. Here's the link. Go watch that. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Next up, we watched U-571. I love how there's so many different different branches of the military. U-571 is all about submarines and capturing a German submarine, a U-boat. It's well made. Matthew McConaughey gives a pretty good performance. It's got a good cast. And I give it 3.5 beards out of 5. Next, on the 5th of November, guess what we watched? Yes, for the first time I showed my daughters V for Vendetta. And I was a little worried they weren't able to handle it, but they handled it fine. They were like, no, it's awesome. They think it's great. V for Vendetta is... I got to do a review for it, so I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna do a review. Yeah, it's awesome. All right, next we watch Where Eagles Dare, which is kind of more of a spy World War II film with Clint Eastwood and Richard Burton. It's all about double agents and storming a castle. It's a well-made, fun film. You could see it's funny, you could see some of the matte paintings in the back were clear to us, and my daughters didn't know about that, so they're like, oh, they're on, I see, yeah, those trees aren't real. And it's like, yeah. But no, it's well done. And it's a fun time, good time. I give it 3.5 beards out of 5. Next we watched All Quiet on the Western Front, the original. I got it on Blu-ray a little while ago. Love this movie. It's not a fun movie to watch, but it is a well-made movie. And yeah, it's I've done a review for it, but I'll tell you it's 5 beards out of 5. It's a movie everyone should see. Next we watch Kelly's Heroes, which is totally a fun movie. Clint Eastwood. It's a weird it's a heist war movie. It's about stealing gold in the middle of war. Yeah, it's total fun. I've done a review for that too. I'll link that here. Next, I watched Revenge of the Ninja, and I watched this on Paramount YouTube. This is a film I remember as a kid. When I was a kid, I loved ninjas, and most kids do. Most boys do. I don't know about girls, but most boys are obsessed with ninjas, and I was totally obsessed with ninjas, and I remember watching this as a kid, thinking it was the coolest thing ever. Watching it now, holy crap, it's not the coolest thing ever, but it is fun, and it's stupid, and you can see how bad the choreography is, and yeah, I wouldn't recommend it unless you have fond memories of it, but I'll give it 2 beards out of 5. Next, I watched a documentary called A Band Called Death, and this is all about the first real punk band ever. And they were 3 black guys that were brothers from Detroit. I highly recommend this film. It's 4 beards out of 5. If you love music, you should look at this film, and it'd give you a real appreciation for what came before and just the struggles some people do with their music and trying to get their message out. It's really, really good film. Next, we watched Grave of the Fireflies, and this is it's an animated movie. One of the first films with Studio Ghibli. It's like was formed under that banner kind of. And my daughters could not make it through this film. They were too sad. And it is one of the saddest films I think I've ever seen. But it's also really, really important. And it's basically a look at orphans, to a brother and sister in Japan. And just all the struggles they go through. And my daughters literally couldn't get through it. They were like, they begged me. They were like, Daddy, please turn it off. Please let us leave the room, please. And I finally gave in to them because they're just like, it's too sad. I can't take it. And they said, we'll promise we'll watch it when we're older. And I was like, okay. Yeah. But yeah, it's incredibly sad, but it's incredibly well done. It's a really, really important film. It's one of the best war films you're probably going to ever see from the perspective of a child. It's animated. It's animated beautifully. It looks so beautiful in a really sad sort of way. And I give it 5 beards out of 5. It's a must-see for anyone who... Yeah, this is a must-see. Next, I watched Deer Hunter. Yeah, it's a really weird war movie. There's like, you don't get to the war in Vietnam for like an hour, and then when it's not the normal war in Vietnam that you see. It's like, you see like 3 minutes of fighting, and then they're captured POWs, but you don't even see them get captured. And they go through some terrible stuff then, and then, like, it's very scattered, but very, I think it showed how chaotic war was, especially Vietnam, for being in a country that they didn't understand the culture. And yeah, I give it 4 beards out of 5. Robert De Niro and Christopher Walken are awesome in it. Next, I watched The Judge, Robert Downey Jr., Robert Duvall. Really good movie, 3.5 beards. And lastly, last night I watched Captain Phillips. And I've been waiting to see this movie forever, and I couldn't wait for my wife anymore. Sorry, honey. So I watched it, and jeez, man. Tom Hanks, that guy can act his butt off. The story's good, but the acting from Tom Hanks is freaking insane. So I give it 4 beards out of 5. Next up, Q&A. All right, so I got a bunch of cool questions this week, so I'm going to go through them really quickly. I got a bunch from Tim from the late reviews. Starting, he says, what are my expectations for Jessica Jones? That's a new Netflix show. Looks great. I really am looking forward to it. I don't really know anything about Jessica Jones other than she's a superpowered girl in Hell's Kitchen, kind of same place Daredevil's from. And yeah, it looks really good. The trailer looks great. I'm going to link the trailer right here. Yeah. Next, what is the best bonus feature I've ever seen on a Blu-ray or DVD? Some commentaries are great, but bonus features overall, I just watched Friday the 13th Part 3 where it had a great bonus feature on slasher films. There's some great Easter egg things, especially with Lord of the Rings. But yeah, I'm going to say that, yeah, it was really good. It was like, There's a bunch. There's tons. Like I like watching. Occasionally, I like watching directors' commentaries and actor commentaries and stuff like that. But it's like overall, that's probably some of the best. That and bloopers are always great. What is the first DVD I ever owned? Fight Club, because I literally was like, Fight Club is the first one I want to own, and it was. And do I own any VHS tapes anymore? I have 3, as far as I know. And they're the original Star Wars movies. And by original, I mean original. Untampered with. And I don't know where they are. They're in my basement somewhere in a box. I gotta find them. I think I'm gonna try and find them. We have a VCR. I'm gonna try and hook them up and watch them before we show my girls The Force Awakens. So, yeah. But that's the only VHS tapes I have left. Alright, my friend Bear asked me, Harry Potter prequels, what do I think? Are they prequel? What do I think about it? I haven't seen the trailer yet. I think they're stretching it. I think they're really hoping for money. But, you know, it could be cool. It's all about the money. Which is sad, but it's true. Alright, Art from the A to Z show asks, what's the one film that you think has gone under many people's radar in 2015, but is worth checking out? There's a ton, but probably not yours, Art, because you see every movie pretty much. But, the general movie-going public, like, still haven't seen Meet Earl and the Dying Girl, and they still haven't seen Ex Machina. But Predestination is the one movie this year that has blown me away, that I was just like, wow, that is a great film. And no one knows about it. I talked to people, and no one has even heard of it. So I'm going to say that one. I'm sure for a lot of the YouTube community, they've all seen it. But... if you want an interesting war-looking film, try The Good Kill. I don't think a lot of people have seen that, and it's a pretty decent movie. Again, I think you've seen it, though, because you're art and you've seen everything. Next, Lee from Drum Dums, who's awesome, asked me my thoughts on Jessica Chastain. Oh, yeah. All right, Jessica Chastain is probably in the top 5 actresses working today, easily. She is smart, she's beautiful, and she can act she can act. We'll just say that. She can act awesome. She is very, very well put together as an actress. She can do lots of different things. And yeah, she's really, really good. And plus she's a redhead, and I really, the first girl I ever liked was a redhead, so that kind of set a pattern for my whole life. So I like that. But yeah, she's great. She's up on the I'd put her on the same level with Amy Adams and Jennifer Lawrence and Anne Hathaway. She's up in that echelon of actresses working today. Yeah, so I think she's awesome, and she can do pretty much anything she wants to, as she's shown. And the last question I got from CP, and I don't have the exact question because I'm lazy and can't go find it, but I know the question was, this holiday, this December, is incredibly stacked with awesome films. There's obviously Star Wars, but also on Christmas Day, there's The Revenant, there's Hateful Eight, there's Charlie Kaufman, something like that. There's some film with Charlie Kaufman. There's so many films in December. There's I think 10 films coming out in December that look awesome. And he was asking me, have I remembered a December that's this stacked? And I gotta say, no, I haven't. There's been some Decembers that have some good stuff. Last year was really good near the end of the year. But a December that's this stacked with this much inflation towards it, with this much, Star Wars is going to kill everything at the box office, and that's okay. But there are some really solid films, especially near the very end of December, coming out. And yeah, I don't remember this many good films. The Revenant and Hateful Eight coming on the same day. That's awesome and terrible at the same time, because people are going to be split in which they're going to see. I want to see both, so I'm leaning more towards Hateful Eight, but I want to see both. So no, I don't remember a December this big. They've really stacked it, especially near the end there. But The Force Awakens is going to destroy everything else box office wise for a month. That's it for BMG Radio. I want to thank you guys so much. Yeah, I missed last week. I just got busy. Just life, lots of stuff's been going on. I want to thank anyone who's been sticking around and listening this long, and thanks for all your questions. Thanks for all your comments. And, I really appreciate all the input. If you got any, let me know. If you have any questions, let me know. If you got any things you want me to talk about, Jar Jar related or not, let me know. And I will talk about them because, I got nothing else to do. Well, I got lots of things to do, but, I'm here for you. All 20 of you. Well, 19 sometimes. Anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around. And until next time, stay brave. And as always,